Hello friends, how are you? Beautiful, illustrious femmes around the world. I'm so happy to be here with you today to share with you about this recent chapter of my life. Excuse me, my nose is already going. Can you believe this? Every time I do a live, my nose starts twitching and tingling and itching and scratching and anyway, just funny. And anyway, I'm here today because I wanted to share my story with you. You might not be able to relate to it. Everybody has their own beautiful stories of their journeys and their heartbreaks and their pain and their loss, but also their joy and their happiness and the memories they've created along the way. So you may or may not relate to it, but either way, I hope that you'll find a lesson in it. And I've made some notes that I can stay on track and not get too far off the beaten path. So listen and pay attention, because there might be some nuggets in there that you're like, okay, that's an aha moment. But I've also bullet pointed some important lessons that I picked up along the way. So I'd love to hear your top takeaways after this live, or if you're catching it on the replay, that's cool too. I'm not going to ask for a hashtag live or a hashtag replay today. I understand that Facebook isn't too keen on that strategy at the moment. So just let me know if you're listening in, where you're from, who you are. Tell me a little bit about what you do and sort of where you are in your circle, in your cycle of business. If you're somebody who's just starting off in business, you've got this idea, you've got this seed within you, you know you're meant for something more, and you're ready to run with it, but you just maybe haven't taken those first steps, or maybe you've taken a first few steps, but you're kind of just getting started in your baby business. Give me a 1 if that's you. If you are somebody who's got a side hustle already and you're looking to transform that into a full-blown career, passion business, give me a 2. And if you're somebody who's already got a full-time business in the online space, but you're looking to scale that up, give me a 3. I'd just like to know where my friends are in the world watching from, and also where you are in the cycle of your business. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in to the story. I just felt called to share this with you today. So I'm excited to share, and we're just gonna power through. So let's go. So about 6 years ago, my husband and I faced a financial disaster, and that's not what this story is about. I'm not going to get into the hows or the whys or the whats of that, but let's just suffice it to say that life as we knew it changed in the blink of an eye. Can you relate with this? Can anybody relate with a life-altering situation that all of a sudden your life is this way one day and the next day you're like, wait, how did I get to this place? That's how it was. And we had to move out of our big, beautiful house. We had to take both of our cars back. We sold a lot of things. We really downsized, scaled down, and the themed, fabulous dinner parties that I was used to throwing went out the window because we could barely figure out how to put groceries on the table for our own selves. I was a stay-at-home mom. I knew I had to go back to work. It was just crushing to me that I was going to have to miss some of those small moments when Sophie was growing up. She was 4 years old, and a traditional 9-to-5 was not going to cut it for us. It wasn't going to make a difference in our financial situation, and I didn't want to miss any of those moments with her. So I just kept banging my head against the wall, wondering what I wanted to do with this next chapter of my life. You know, if I'm going to go to work, I want to love what I do. I want to be passionate about that too. So it wasn't only just the money, it was energetically, like what would get me up in the morning? What would make me excited to go through this day living this new life? And as I continued to question what my next steps were going to be, it was a matter of buying groceries or paying the credit card bill for that month. And there were months where I wasn't able to pay my credit card bill. So what happens then? Well, your credit becomes destroyed, right? There were other months that we fell behind on bills. A lot of the bills were in my name, and my credit just continued in this downward spiral. My phone kept ringing all day, every day, with creditors looking for money. I couldn't even look at my phone. I kept my phone on silent. And to this day, I still keep my phone, my ringer. A lot of times my friends will be like, where are you? You must have missed my call or whatever. And I'm like, I just forgot to turn my ringer back on because it became such a habit to turn the ringer off so that I wouldn't know when the phone was ringing. It was the worst sound I could imagine, because I was like, oh, okay, somebody else, banging down the door for money, and we just don't have it right now. So it was really, really bad. There were months where we wondered if we could pay the rent, how we were going to pay the rent, how we were going to keep the lights on. And it was just really, I felt ashamed. I felt embarrassed. I felt like a horrible mom having to say no to my daughter when she wanted to do things. There were times we couldn't go to birthday parties because I couldn't afford to bring a birthday gift for the little friend. It was just a devastating time. And date nights went out the window, coffees and luncheons with girlfriends, yoga classes, like all my whole life that I was used to. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do anything. We were on one car, both of us later in life, trying to reinvent ourselves. And it was just this energy of lack and victim mentality and exhaustion and anxiety and worry and sleepless nights. So let me know if you're watching this live or on the replay, if you've ever felt that level of anxiety where you just can't breathe, you can't catch your breath, and you're tired all the time and you're exhausted and you just don't have the energy, and it's almost like this place of depression, right? And I would live in my yoga clothes. I wouldn't want to get up and get dressed for the day and have a shower and put on makeup or wear pretty clothes. I just wanted to be comfortable in my yoga clothes. I would just not go anywhere, not see anyone, not do anything. And so it's putting up this wall of resentment, right? This wall to block out all the pain. And I could feel the bricks just stacking up. But when you build that wall to keep out the pain, it also keeps out the joy. And you find yourself in this black hole of despair, right? Questioning, why me? Why me? I would shout at the sky, why me? Why am I going through this? Why am I experiencing this level of misery and this pain of resentment and lack and blame and shame and all those negative emotions, right? So I kept looking into my options, and they were very limited. I just could not find anything that I could get excited about or that was going to make any sort of dent in our financial situation. I was looking on Craigslist. I was looking on monster.com, on just every site that I could find to see what was out there, and there was just nothing. Thought about going back to real estate school to become a realtor, but everybody else in Charleston at that time was becoming a realtor, and I didn't have the money to invest in the classes, and it didn't light me up either. Like I couldn't get excited about that. I had a background in interior design, thriving interior design business before Sophie was born, and I just burned out on that. I burned out. Friends would invite us over to dinner, and we'd get there and they'd be like, oh, while you're here, come look at the guest room and tell me how you would organize the furniture, or come in here and I have this fan deck here, could you help me select the best paint color? And I'm like, there are boundaries, and I was being taken advantage of, and just some crazy wackadoo clients, and I just wasn't good on the office end of doing things. Anybody else here a creative? Love the creative aspect, but when it comes to the business side of following up for payments and that sort of thing, I was horrible at it. So it wasn't that I was horrible at it, I didn't enjoy it, let's put it that way. So anyway, but I didn't want to go back to that because, again, everybody in Charleston was either a realtor or an interior designer, and it would take a lot of money to get my accounts reopened. I'd shut everything down when I was a stay-at-home mom with Sophie. So to go back and get my accounts reopened, and I'd have to get a website, and I didn't know how to set up a website, so I'd have to hire a web developer, and I didn't have any recent portfolio pictures to put on a website because I hadn't worked in many years, right, as a stay-at-home mom. So it was just this never-ending cycle of where am I going to go? What am I going to do next? This feeling of helplessness, right? And sometimes when you're standing in the fire, you can't see the opportunities that are all around you. So one day I had an aha moment, woke up and thought, Another thing that was happening at that time, hey Leslie, welcome, welcome. Another thing that was happening at that time is that my brother had recently passed away. And with that and this financial crisis we were going through, my anxiety was just through the roof. And I started, it's probably too much information, but I started bleeding all the time, could not stop bleeding. And I had surgery after surgery and the doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong. They're like, you need to have a hysterectomy. And I'm like, wait, you're taking out body parts, but you can't even tell me why or what's wrong with me? Like, what if it's not that? What if it's something else? And I realized that I had to take my health into my own hands. And so I found this product, this bee pollen tablet that I'd started taking, and the bleeding stopped. I didn't have to have the hysterectomy, didn't have to have a single another surgery, and I haven't been back to the doctor since. And I'd also started taking this aloe vera drink for weight loss because I'd had a baby and I wanted to get my body back in shape. And so I was, my health was really good at that point. It was restored. And so I thought, you know what, I've been taking these supplements and drinking this drink. I can make a business out of this. And so I went looking for how to get started working alongside this global health and wellness company who I'm still with today. I love, love, love the products. So much had changed when I had to go back to work for me as a stay-at-home mom. I didn't know anything about marketing. I didn't know anything about building a business in the online space. All I knew is what I had been taught growing up by my mom. So just also to digress, my mom is an incredible, yes, best. My mom was a single mom of 3 kids, and she was 6 figures in debt from her custody case. She owed a lot of money to the lawyers. And she was, it's funny how history repeats itself. She found herself in a similar situation going like, I've got to do something. I'm not going to be denied giving my children this beautiful life, and I've got to figure out a way. And so she did. So she built to the top of a network marketing company. She was a pioneer in that industry, and she taught women all over the world. She became one of the most sought after speakers, trainers, and authors, and started traveling the world. And she had created her own coaching business through becoming so successful in the network marketing industry. So I had network marketing in my blood. I had coaching in my blood. I had teaching and training in my blood. I had entrepreneurship in my blood. I wasn't employable. Does anybody else ever feel that way? I am not able to have a job. I tried in my 20s to have jobs and nothing ever stuck. I just couldn't have somebody telling me what to do. And I know, Leslie, you love your job and you're building your business alongside what you do, but it was not for me. So that's why I couldn't get excited about anything when it came to finding a traditional job. I knew I was not employable, but I also didn't have a vehicle, and I didn't have an idea of how to start a business in this online marketing space, right? So I started working my business in the only way I knew how I worked with my mom in her previous company. I had also built to a top position in that company. And so I went back to my roots and I went, okay, so this is the only way I know how to do it. And then if I've done it before, I know I can do it again. So I started doing home parties. I started going to networking events. I started doing events, but the events were hard to do when I was just getting started because I didn't have any money for inventory and I didn't have money to invest, with the event planner. So that was kind of tricky, but sometimes people would do a trade or let you pay them after the event or whatever. I set up coffee meetings after coffee meetings after coffee meetings, and I was just running from one meeting to another and one meeting to another, and I'd have to go out in the evenings to do the parties, and I'd just cry my entire way there because the whole point of having a home-based business was to be home with Sophie, right? My whole reason for not wanting to go back to work, well, selfishly being unemployable, but I guess that's not really my fault. That was inherent, right? But also for being there with her and not missing out on any of those precious moments. And all the time I was just gone. I was running in my business. And it paid off, it really did. This hustle, grind, slay and repeat strategy that I was working. It did, it paid off. I was able to earn a Mercedes. So now we had our second car back, which was awesome because, 2 people trying to start their life over later in life and also having a child to run to and from school. It wasn't easy. And so now I'd earned a Mercedes, so that was like super cool to go from no car to that. And then I was also able to earn these incredible trips to take Sophie around the world. So I took her to Stockholm, on a cruise from Barcelona to Monte Carlo to Rome. I took her not last year, the year before, right before COVID hit, I took her to Thailand. We've also been to Dubai. We've just had incredible memories that we created that we never would have been able to otherwise. So can you imagine going from being absolutely broke with zero money in the bank, overdrawn month after month after month, to now driving a Mercedes and being able to take my daughter traveling the world? It was like crazy coming from, having this amazing life, being a stay-at-home mom, not having to work, losing everything, having to go back to work, build it all back, and in a pretty short period of time, I was able to do that. But this hustle, slay, grind, and repeat, it was not sustainable, right? So what happens when you just keep going, and it's all about the money? I was coming from lack. I was coming from there's just not enough. I was racing. There's not enough time. There's not enough money, right? Leslie, setbacks make the best comebacks. Absolutely. I love that quote. I love it. I'm just going to take a drink of water here. Yes, it was a major setback, but in the grand scheme of things, it was for a very short period of time. Although at the time seemed to just be stretching out forever. I'm running out of time, but at the same time, there's not enough time to make the money and to get this lifestyle that we were accustomed to back up and running, right? So what happens when you just hustle, slay, grind, repeat over and over and over again is burnout. Fastest way to burn out, right? It was the only way I knew, though. So I'm taking care of Neil, I'm taking care of Sophie, I'm taking care of Gatsby, I'm looking after the house, and the last person on the list to get any sort of attention or love was myself. I was so tired. I had no energy, and all I did was just keep going because I had to. I didn't know what else to do. Until, your body is a machine, right? It's wired a certain way so that when you come to this point of burnout, or for you, it might be something else. For me, it's burnout. I can tell. My body starts to send me signals and messages, and I recognize the pattern, and I can go, okay, now I know what I need to do. I gotta pivot, I gotta switch up something, I gotta start something new, I gotta try something different, I gotta learn something new, or I need to take a step back and just take a breath for a minute, right? But that was a lifetime learning lesson to get to that. So write that down. If you see that burnout or whatever it is for you, that emotional drain, if you start to see it coming, watch for the signs, watch for the patterns, recognize them, and then you can act accordingly, rather than just letting it wash you out and drown you out, and you want to quit, or you start questioning yourself, or you're back in this spiral, right? The spiral of self-doubt and of burnout. So I went looking how to build a business in the online space. I started seeing on Facebook these other women who were creating these incredible businesses, and I tried to build my business online. I literally copied and pasted posts from top people in the company that I'm with, because I thought, if it's working for them, it could work for me too. Crickets. I got nothing, nada. Then I had this guru tell me that I should friend up as many people as I could and send them cold messages to say, hey, would you be open to having a look at what I do? I see that you're in London or Paris or wherever, would you be open to having a look at my business opportunity? Well, you can imagine how well that ever went over. Not. I posted all the time about the products and the business opportunity, like join my team, buy this product. I actually changed my profile picture to the company's logo. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's like trying to DIY a business is never a good idea, but I thought this is what I was supposed to do, and I got it all wrong when I was looking to bring this into the online space. My upline also promised that she would send me these tools and trainings that I needed to have, that were helping her business and her team to grow. She lives in another country. And she asked me to do some market research in our country and to figure out the currency exchange so that she could send me these presentations and these trainings, which I spent hours trying to figure out, like, what were the currency exchanges and how would the wording work better in our English than in their English, and sent all the information in return. Never received any of the training tools or presentations that I needed. And, love the company, but all of their stuff is totally branded to the company. So nothing, I didn't understand that I should be branding myself and standing out above the noise above all the other people in the industry and all the other companies that were out there. Hey, Ashley, welcome. So it was just a train wreck, like trying to build a business online, not having any idea of what I was doing. So finally I went, you know what, this is just embarrassing. I got to figure this out. This is not fun. These strategies are not resonating with me. I got to figure this out. So I went looking for information on how to build a business in the online space. And even though I didn't have the money at the time, I invested a lot of money in working with a business coach, because I was like, you know what, I can keep trying to DIY this myself, but I'm going to be in the same place in 6 months or a year as I am right now if I'm not going to do something different about it. So I went into this immersive learning phase for 6 months of just putting my head down and really learning the strategies that it takes to build a business in the online space. I spent time testing it, trying things, getting frustrated, wanting to throw my laptop at the wall. Can anybody relate to that? And wondering if I was ever going to get my ROI back, my return on investment, because I'd spent a lot of money on this. I really dug in deep with my network marketing business. I sold things around the house. I mean, I had to borrow some money from a friend, but I was like, this is my mentor and I'm going all in for this. I was terrified. I couldn't sleep at night. I was so scared. Oh my gosh, but it pays off, you guys. It really, really does. So what happened then was I fell in love with business strategy. And I decided to launch a coaching business because I could see that other women were out there like me looking for the new modern ways of building a business and building it online and not in the traditional way of doing things. And that was just incredible. But again, it was this hustle, slay, grind, and repeat, putting myself out there, just working all the time. So again, burnout, right? So that's when I started studying energetics, the divine masculine energy and the divine feminine energy of this law of taking action, the masculine part of business that we have to do, right? We can practice the law of attraction, the feminine part, all day long, like sit around manifesting and hoping something great's going to happen. But if we never take any action, nothing's going to happen, right? So I went from this place of like total masculine energetics to going, all right, where can I find my feminine energy? Where can I bring fun into my business and find my passion again, right? So I really dug in deep studying energetics and alignment and emotional awareness and emotional intelligence. And throughout this learning curve, I found my spirituality. And I realized that this is the feminine part of me. I love crystals. I love healing and helping other people. That's what it's all about. It's not just chasing the almighty dollar all the time, right? I mean, money isn't everything, but it is up there with oxygen, right? So, but it's also about making more of an impact and having fun while you're doing it and dancing with life rather than forcing it. Can anybody relate? Anybody else ever felt like you're just forcing life? You're forcing, and nothing's changing. And the second you just kind of sit back for a second, things start to happen. So I was like, all right, so how can I balance this out, right? So that's when everything started to change. And I did. I got the ROI back on the investment with my coach. And I started watching my more wealthy friends who are more successful, wealthier. We had pulled ourselves sort of very slowly out of this financial disaster, out of the negative, into a much more positive, calm, peaceful place. Leslie says, yep, all the time. Yeah, yep. Well, I guess it's just part of the journey, right? until you finally recognize and go, you know what, I can't live like this anymore. I'm not going to do it. You're talking about the forcing, I think, like just go and forcing. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, if I could just take a deep breath, like maybe some things are going to start coming through from all the seeds that I've been planting. And I'm going to give myself a minute to open up and receive the abundance that's out there. But when you're standing in the fire, you can't see that. You just keep going, but you're going to burn out, and your body's going to tell you. It's going to force you to slow down and take a break. So I started talking to my more successful friends, my wealthy friends, and I thought, you know what? If you want to be wealthy, study wealth. So if you get nothing else from today, write that down. If you want to be wealthy, study wealth. And instead of just hanging around and drinking wine and, chit-chatting about what we do, I said, I'm really putting myself out there and being vulnerable, and I want to know, what did you do? How did you build all of this? And there's only so much that I understand is about, yes, investing in myself, yes, making money, yes, saving money, but beyond that, I'm terrified of success. Anybody else here have a fear of success? It's just as much a thing as failure is. Sarah, hey, welcome. Can't wait to see you in just a little bit. Keep me on track too, please, because I need to set a timer because I can't wait and I don't want to go way over. What was I saying? Yes. So I started asking, what are you doing? How'd you grow wealth? How do you go from just making money and saving money? Like, what if somebody comes and takes it? What if I lose it all? What if, right? I don't know what to do when it comes in. Where do I put it? So thank you, Sarah, says will do. So one of my best friend put me in touch with a fiduciary who has now become my wealth coach. And we started meeting, and he helped us to lay this foundation of protection where we had life insurance again. We had to cash out those policies years ago to pay the rent. So we got back into life insurance. We created an emergency account of savings so that if something terrible were to happen, we don't go into the negative. We have funds, but we put them in a place where we forget about them, right? And then he's helped us start to buy a house, the wealth creation fund for the house sinking fund. And at the same time to create even more protection for the long run in a retirement IRA, a Roth IRA. And so then there's money markets, and then there's investing in the stock market, and it all gets so exciting. So if you want to be wealthy, study wealth. And if you don't understand something, don't be afraid to ask how these things work, because there are support systems out there. That's why there are lawyers. That's why there are fiduciaries. That's why there are wealth creators and wealth managers and money managers and people out there who have studied this and lived a lifetime learning how to invest and grow wealth, right? So don't be afraid to ask someone. And I told Danny, our fiduciary, in the very beginning, I was like, talk to me like I am a second grader, because I don't understand any of how this works, and I can't wait to learn. And I don't also want to just be like, here's my money, put it wherever you think it should go. Like, explain it to me along the way. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? I want to understand this so that I can teach others how to grow their wealth at an exponential rate, right? So every time Danny and I talk, we check off a goal that we've reached, and I'm like, okay, this is awesome. Like, what do we do next? Where do we go next? And tell me why. And so I'm like taking notes and everything. And he's probably looking at me like, she really has no clue. But we work so well together, and we've really grown this relationship. So know that you are so supported. And if there's something out there that you don't understand, don't be afraid to ask. I wish I had asked sooner. I wish I'd thought to ask sooner, because we could have gotten out of this really horrible situation a lot faster. But hindsight, right? It's all a part of life. So what happened then is that I pay my credit cards off in full that I've been dragging around for maybe 15 years. Sarah, you were there during that time. Remember, that was my big goal for the it was actually last fall. So yeah, it was really exciting, because then that restores your credit. So remember I said earlier that when it came to paying the monthly credit card bill or putting food on the table, groceries always won, and my credit had been destroyed. Well, then paying off the credit cards within minutes, maybe not even hours, but maybe within a few weeks, credit was restored. credit was restored. And it's amazing what happens when you have great credit is that your insurance rates go down. So now we're saving hundreds of dollars on our insurance rates every month as a result. So one thing leads to another. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. I promise there's so much abundance. There's so much abundance. And Sarah says, congratulations, what a huge accomplishment. You inspire me with that one. Yes, well, you know, it's interesting when you have a plan and you decide you're going to stick to it. It can be so easy to go, you know, I'm just going to go to the shops today. I need to treat myself to a dress, or, you know, I need to get off the grid and go, you know, have this luncheon with this girlfriend. Well, for me, I had to switch that mentality and say, you know what, this is the most important thing, is growing our wealth. And until I hit my goal for the month, I'm not doing that next thing. I'm not, you know, and there were times I had to say, no, I can't go to lunch. I can't do that thing. I can't do that thing. Not today. I can, you know, I have the means to do that, but I'm choosing not to. That's a better way to phrase it, right? I have the means to do this, but I'm choosing not to spend my money in that way because we're on this plan and we're sticking to it, right? So it's also having the responsibility, and it's having the mindfulness to stick with your plan, to have a plan, to have somebody guiding you, whether it's in business, whether it's in spirituality, whether it's in creating a beautiful lifestyle, maybe it's in wealth creation, but find that plan and stick to it. Leslie, amazing, you're inspiring. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, it's exciting times for sure. It really, really is. And just know that if it's possible for one, it's possible for all. Okay, so have a plan in place. Achieve your plan first, achieve your goal first, and then go and do the thing. Then go and celebrate. But you got to pay yourself first. You have to pay yourself first. Then you can go out and have the champagne, right? Then you can go out and go shopping. Then you can, you know, go out to that beautiful dinner or whatever it is you want to do. Reward yourself. Absolutely. You know, celebrate all the small wins along the way, right? Because the other secret that I've learned over the last few years is that there is no destination. You never fully arrive, right? And how boring would that be if you did? What happens then? Just, I don't know. Maybe a lot of people like to just head off to the golf course for the afternoon, but for me, I'm like, I need to always be stimulating and learning and growing and then teaching the things that I'm learning to others to make more of that impact and to help to grow other people's wealth, because together we can just achieve so many more things, right? Make this world a more beautiful place. That's why I'm here. Okay, but then the funny thing is that even in all this growth, even in all this like walking out of the fire, I still kept losing myself along the way. I still kept losing clarity. Anybody else can relate to this? You think you're on this path, this straight and narrow, beautiful path, and then all of a sudden you're like, is anybody actually listening to me? Is anybody actually paying attention? Does anybody actually see me over here? Sarah says, yes, great teachers are always learning too. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's so much to learn. There's lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of wisdom and knowledge and history to learn that all applies to what we're doing here and now, right? But anybody else ever find yourself losing yourself just in that moment when you think, you know, I got it. I finally got it together. I'm on the course. I got this. And then all of a sudden you're like, I don't got this. Like, who am I? Who am I helping? Who am I here to serve? What am I teaching? What am I actually doing? Is anybody actually like, do I actually have anything to share? Am I on the right path? And so many times I kept questioning myself and rebranding and pivoting. And let me look at the comments. Yes, you've seen me do that too, wandering off focus. It teaches us something though, and I always find that I end up in a better spot. Always, yes, absolutely. And Sarah, I cannot wait to talk to you this afternoon about all the downloads that have been coming through. And speaking of like rebranding and repivoting and changes coming, shifts are happening. It's just so exciting what's going on. And so pay attention to those downloads as they come. And if you feel, it's time for a rebrand, it's time to make a change, you don't have to fix anything, right? Sometimes just the smallest tweaks can make all the difference. But, and Sarah says, woohoo, yes. So sometimes just the smallest tweak can make all the difference, but don't ever quit Know that it's always too soon to quit and your breakthrough is right around the corner. So if you ever feel like you're about to have a breakdown or you're going through a breakdown, you're actually going through a breakthrough. And the answer is on the other side if you just keep going. If you stop, you'll never get the answer and it's going to drive you insane the rest of your entire life. The voices are just going to keep coming like, why did you quit? Why did you quit? Why didn't you look a little harder for the answer? Why didn't you open up to receive the answer? The answers are always there. We have to be aware. We have to be aware. And I'm going to be talking a lot more about awareness and emotional intelligence in this group and in some other surprises that I have coming up for you. So I kept losing clarity, kept losing focus, kept getting out of alignment because we are creatures of habit, aren't we? And so I'd find myself like on this path and then all of a sudden it's hustle, slay, grind, repeat, hustle, slay, grind, repeat. That masculine energy kept coming back in and the feminine energy kept flowing out. And again, like not having fun in business, losing the passion, losing the clarity. And so it's finding out when you're feeling that way, when you're feeling out of alignment, how can you bring yourself back to the middle? So if you're taking too much action and not enough time for yourself, energetically, you can feel asymmetrical, right? So how can you bring that back to the middle and go, okay, I'm going to start dancing with life again. I'm going to start having fun with this again. What do I need to do to have fun with this again? So maybe that looks like a rebrand. Maybe that looks like, I don't know, finding a book that you need to read. Maybe it's taking a course or, reaching out to that mentor and saying, how can I work with you? Maybe it's having a conversation with a wise friend and asking advice and saying, how did you do this? How can I do this too? Because if you can do it, why can't I do this? Right? So it's finding that balance and that flow and bringing it back to the middle, because that's where all the good things happen. My husband taught me a great lesson in the beginning of business, and because I would get so happy if something good would happen, if somebody would buy a product or join my team or make their own sale. I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, and he'd be like, come back down. He's like, just keep going. Like, don't take the day off because you made a sale or something great happened. Like, keep on going. And then I'd just plummet my energy. I would just take it so personally, right? If somebody said no to me or if I faced rejection, and he'd be like, just keep going. Just come back to the middle. Don't get so down. Don't get so up. Just keep it in the middle. And that's being grounded. That's being grounded. And we're going to be talking a lot more about crystals and energies and energetics in this group too. And so there's some great grounding stones to keep you in alignment, energetics, exactly where you need to be. So let's talk for a second about branding. Are you guys getting some good information? I hope you're enjoying this story as much as I'm enjoying telling it, because it's fun to look back and go, wow, sometimes you don't realize how far you've come in a relatively short period of time. Thank you for the love. And hey, Sandra, welcome. And Leslie says, woohoo, love me some crystals. Love learning from you. Thank you, Sarah. Yes. And Leslie, if you ever need to go crystal shopping, Sarah is your girl. She is amazing, and I can't wait to go crystal shopping with her. I've learned so much from you, Sarah. And so yes, we must have a crystal shopping day soon. Okay, so let's talk about branding for just a second while we're on the subject of a pivot, on the subject of coming back into alignment. So for me, if I'm feeling off, if I feel like I should be doing something or I need to be doing something, like the other day I was like, oh yeah, I should get in there and create this landing page and this lead magnet. But then for days, I didn't get in there and do it. And I kept like coming down on myself. Do you do this? I should be doing that. But then you don't do it. And then you're like beating up on yourself. Like, you're terrible. You're horrible. How come you didn't get in there and get that thing done? Sandra says she just popped on. Welcome. Leslie says I'm in. Yes, we need a crystal shopping day for sure. So Sarah, if you want to connect with, or Leslie, if you want to connect with Sarah, Crystal Curation Shopping Expedition next month. Yay! I'm in. I'm totally in. So let's see. Branding. You feel like you should be doing the thing, right? But then you just don't go. And so you self-sabotage and you beat yourself up, right? And it's just this constant pattern. Well, it's the thing that you should do. I don't know. There's two schools of thought on this. For me, it's like, if I don't get in there and do it, maybe it's because it wasn't meant to be. Maybe because that wasn't the actual idea that I should follow through on. maybe there's something more exciting. Okay, so I'm going somewhere with this. You just have to hang in here with me until the very end, because I've got something really exciting that I've been working on. And again, it's evolving, right? And business is always evolving. Our lives are always evolving. Our ideas are always evolving. So if something doesn't work the first time, it's not that it wasn't meant to be. It's that maybe it's going to take on a different form. And it's going to be this or something better, right? When Sophie and I talk about manifestation, we always talk about, okay, if this is something that we want to do or somewhere we want to go or something that we want to achieve, if we don't achieve it, it could be something even better. It could be something even more. So we're not limiting ourselves, right? So we always say this or something better. Okay, so this is when it's time to kind of pivot and just open up to downloads, to hear the messages that your heart needs to hear, your soul needs to hear. And so you can do that through a meditation. You can do that through a card reading. You could do that through playing with your crystals, just maybe taking a bath, taking a walk in nature, and just come at it from a different perspective. That's it. It's perspective, right? Okay. So for me, that looks like a rebrand. And every time I feel like that, I'm like, okay, I need to do something different. I need to up-level my brand. I need to come at this from a different energy that makes me so excited that that's where the ideas are going to start coming from. Because energy begets energy, right? It's like success begets success. And the more you focus on something, the more your energy flows to it. Energy flows where focus goes, or something like that. Your focus goes where your energy flows. So come at it from a different perspective energetically, is what I'm saying. So for me, that looks like a rebrand. So when we're speaking about branding, I've always talked to my clients about, and this comes from my interior design background, right? Like, go look around your house and see what colors you have throughout your house. Like, is there a rug or a tapestry or a piece of art or something that really inspires you, and that you bought that for a certain reason, and it has this energy to it, or this vibe to it, or this memory to it, that you love it so much that you look at it all the time? Well, that's perhaps your branding colors. That's where you're going to pull some of your colors from. Or maybe go into your closet and see what clothes you have hanging in there. What do you have mostly? What color clothes do you mostly have? Do you have all kinds of color that's bright? Oh my goodness, my nose again. Or is it mostly like blacks and whites and metallic colors? Or, are you more fashion forward, or are you more kind of quiet and withdrawn and laid back? Like, how do you want to portray yourself throughout your brand, right? So that's what I always taught, and I still believe that that's true. However, I had this idea come through to me yesterday that it's nothing to do about the exterior of things when it comes to our branding. And I was starting to feel like I need a rebrand. I feel like I'm kind of all over the place with my colors and my, whatever. I need to bring it back and keep it really simple. And that's when I thought for a minute, and I want to pass this on to you guys as well, because something that you've been looking for all this time is within you right now. It's looking you back in the mirror. So I started looking at some of the images that I'd been putting out lately, and I went, you know what? I have sand colored hair. I have turquoise colored eyes, blue eyes, and I love to wear turquoise all the time. Love to wear turquoise. And in years past, I dyed my hair blonde. This is my natural color. I've gone back to my Celtic roots, my strawberry blonde. And I used to put on like a spray tan, tanning solution, whatever. But I'm really very white. This is all Irish, right? And I'm telling you this for a reason. So I looked at my branding colors and I went, you know what? I love the sand, like the sand dunes of Dubai, the sands of the beach, the sandy colors. I used to love rose gold, and I still do love rose gold, but I find so many people are using that. And I wanted to be totally authentic to me. And that's what we're talking about when it comes to branding, is to be you, to own exactly who you are, your flaws, your shadows, anything that you don't like about yourself. Somebody else is going to look at that and be like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. So own who you are, stand in your truth, stand in your power, and say, this is me, right? I talk about that song all the time in The Greatest Showman, This Is Me. This is me. This is who I am. This is all of me. And my whole soul is in this. Abraham Lincoln said that. And then Joe Biden said it also at the inauguration, but we're not getting into politics. I just loved when he said that my whole soul is in this, right? So this is you. This is your whole soul. So look in the mirror. What color hair do you have? What color eyes do you have? What color skin tone do you have? And you can create your entire brand on what's looking you back in the mirror, because how you portray yourself to the world, you are your brand, right? Is that making sense? So if anybody's looking to do a rebrand, it doesn't have to be in your house. It doesn't have to be on somebody else's page. It doesn't have to be in your closet. Those are all good places to look for inspiration. But when you just look in the mirror at yourself and you go, oh my gosh, I am beautiful. I love these colors. This is what God gave me. This is how I was born. This is me. And so just take what you've got, and just run with it, right? Because sometimes what you've got is all you've got. And that's kind of the moral of the story. You guys getting some good information? Give me some love. If so, I love a rebrand. So when you're searching for clarity, pivot if you must. Reinvent yourself as many times as you have to. I can't tell you how many times I've died and been reborn in this life of just continuing to pivot and pivot and pivot and pivot until I figured it out. And it was only yesterday, Sophie was talking about this project that she's working on in her science class. And they were each assigned to study a biome. So who here knows what a biome is? I feel so silly because up until she told me this a few days ago, I was like, what's a biome? It's an ecological system, whether that's a desert or the ocean or the wild, the grasses, the grasslands. Okay, so the mountains are some. Love what you're saying. Oh, thanks, Sandra. Thank you, Sarah. So she was telling me about studying and researching this biome, and she was assigned to the desert, which many of you know, we went to Dubai several years ago, 3 years ago only it was. And we just, or 4 years, I guess it was. And we just had the most magical time. And so I started thinking about this biome and the research that she was doing. And I was like, the sands, right? And then it all starts to come together when it's what you love and what you're looking at in the mirror and who's looking back at you. So give yourself more love. You are beautiful, you're loved, you're supported, and run with what you've got, okay? So pivot if you must, reinvent yourself as many times as you need to until you get back into alignment. We've talked about energetics. I also want to talk about setting boundaries. This, when it comes to grounding yourself and to taking care of yourself and looking after yourself. With being women, most of us in this group are women, is, and again, with the nose itching and twitching, sorry, most of us are women, and it's so easy to have our boundaries pushed and to just fold and to say, okay, I'll just do it. What is it? Another hour, one little thing, it's not that big a deal. But then you're like moaning and groaning the whole time you're doing it. You're resenting the person who pushed your boundaries. You're resenting yourself because you allowed your boundaries to be pushed. And in life and in business, we have to set boundaries, right? And so just going back to interior design, I think I told this story in the Queen Codes the other day. One of the reasons I got out of it was the last straw was I went over to a girlfriend's house for dinner, and she was going to be cooking this beautiful meal, whatever. And she's like, oh, just come into this guest room and could you just help me pick a couple of paint colors? And could you show me where I should put the furniture? And what should I order for this piece over here? And I was like, no, I can't help you. I'm sorry. We're here to have some wine and some dinner and some good laughs. I was like, but if you want to schedule a consultation and, over the next week or two, I'm happy to do that. I could have just said, oh, sure, da-da-da. But you've got to charge your worth. You've got to know what you're worth, and you've got to stick with it. Now, I'm not saying you can't give information and share and help people out and make an impact along the way. Absolutely. But energetically, protecting your boundaries is so important. Okay. But also to be playful too, to be playful in life, because if you have all these strict boundaries and these walls up and, working all the time. You've got to leave room for fun, for playfulness, and for the universe to bring surprises for you. There's so much magic and so much abundance in this world that if everything is so strictly planned out all the time, there's not room for more abundance to come in. So it's like cleaning out your drawers, right? If you have a drawer or a closet or something that's so full that you can't shut it, you can't close it, okay, maybe I should hang some clothes up. Maybe I should go through here and give some things away, throw some things away, make space. And the second you create that space, that beautiful space, it opens up for new things to come in. So every time we buy something new, something old has to go. And that's another good way to just energetically keep things moving, keep the energy moving, keep the space cleansed. Okay, and then along the path, so just going back to the story because it's easy to get a little bit thrown off sometimes when it comes to business strategy too. I do love it. Along the path, that's where the spirituality kicked in learning about the energetics, in learning about balancing the energies and alignment and finding clarity and finding myself, right? Like, who else during COVID, when you weren't able to travel, you traveled anyway. You went on a journey of self-discovery. Wasn't it the perfect time? We were all at home, nowhere to go, nothing to do, nothing to get dressed up for, except for ourselves and our beautiful clients. To take this deep dive and really find yourself again. And so if you feel out of alignment, if you feel out of whack, if you feel that things aren't right, just look within yourself, read the book, take the course, find the guide, surround yourself with people who are going to support you and fuel your passion. And even if they don't fully understand what it is you're doing, they've got your back. They're going to be supportive of you. But yeah, and it just comes to this point where you embrace all of who you are and you embody all of who you are and your weirdness and your unique magic and your unique gifts that you have that only you can share on, shine that light on the world. And it can be scary to put yourself out there. Somebody earlier commented on a post that I made about sharing this journey and this story and just said, thank you so much for sharing this because it's not easy to be vulnerable. It's not. And I have so much more that I want to share with you too. So much more going all the way back in my spiritual journey. I'm actually writing a book about it. And I want to share this with you, but there's no way I can do it all in one live. So if you're interested in learning about the spiritual journey and coming into this confidence, having overcome self-doubt and questioning absolutely everything, then let me know because I would come on and do a live and share that story with you. Hey Kelly, how are you? Great to have you. Know your worth. We are all perfectly imperfect. Yes, we are. And isn't that the beautiful thing about life? If we were all perfect, how boring would that be? And if you can hear snoring, that is Gatsby right next to me. He's hilarious. Okay. So since this journey began and going all into the spirituality aspect of things and studying Reiki and studying crystal healing and being around people like you guys, you all lift me up so much and empower me and inspire me every single day. And now with this healing energy, I can also do that for myself. And so the anxiety stopped. The anxiety has stopped. And it went from this really low vibration all the time, this masculine, heavy energy, to just this beautiful, peaceful aura, this glow, this having fun and dancing with life again and finding passion and being turned on, right, to life and tuned into life and being more aware and embodying the senses and really just enjoying the journey and not trying to force the destination. It allows you to be more present. It allows you to recognize when the shadows are coming up, when you're out of alignment and how to get back on track with that. Really is a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's emotional intelligence. It's falling in love with the journey, and it's letting go of the outcome and just being open to receive the surprises that the universe has for us. It's falling in love with yourself. It's falling in love with your life and being grateful for what you have right now while you're working towards all the things that you want, right? We are all so very blessed, so blessed. And our worst day could be someone else's best day imaginable. And I always go back to that whenever I'm having a bad day. I'm like, okay, this is where I need to like get into some gratitude. And also like even deeper than gratitude would be appreciation, right? Would you agree? To appreciate and be grateful for all that we have in our lives. And loving the people who are in it and all who are coming into it, and the soul sisters that are coming to be a part of your journey. And Sarah, you're one of my soul sisters. I remember, I'll never forget the first day we met. We met at a course creation event right when COVID was just starting, like a year ago, right? And I felt like I'd known you my whole life. I was like, I know you. And you're like, I know you. And it just, my whole life, I felt like I'd known you. And so I know you're one of my soul sisters. And I love the women who are coming into my life and into this group. And it's happening for you too. Can you feel it? Can you feel it coming? I hope that my story empowered you today and that you got something out of it. I'd love to know your top takeaway. If you'd leave it in the comments below, let me know privately. We've been soul sisters forever, every lifetime, lady. Yes, I believe that. And I believe that's true with Sophie as well. And I'll tell you about that and why I believe that she and I have traveled through lifetimes together in this spiritual live, sharing my journey, if you guys would be interested in hearing more about that. So if you're staying here to the end, I just wanted to share with you something that I've been working on, I'm really excited about, and it's called the Aura. And originally it was going to be a program, a course, but I decided that I wanted to open this up for everybody and make it affordable for everyone. And instead of being a course or a program, it is going to be a membership in a Facebook group. And it's going to be this beautiful, gorgeous container that is a monthly subscription. I'm going to be bringing you not just business strategy, branding, marketing tips, but I'm also going to be bringing all the spirituality, crystal healing, chakra clearing, Reiki healing energy, tarot readings. I'm getting certified in the tarot right now. I'm really excited about that. It's a 7-week program that I'm taking. This is just week 2, so that will be something that's coming. Learning to flow with the phases of the moon so that you are your most productive self and you know exactly when you want to be launching, exactly when you want to be showing up, and when you want to be taking some time to yourself. It's going to be a lot about self-care, numerology, working with angels. Also getting certified this year in Gene Keys and human design. So I'm going to be doing human design readings and Gene Key readings and showing you how you're wired and how that affects your life and your actions and your reactions, and how best to design your business around the way that you're wired, the way that we're all wired. It's golden threads of awareness and owning the goddess that you are and being in your queen energy and alignment and clarity and all the things we've been talking about today. So for anyone who wants to join the Aura today, I'm going to give you lifetime access to the Queen codes. So if you watched it last week, you'll know that it disappeared after a few days, and I'm going to be selling it for $111. You're going to get access to that for life for free if you want to join today, the Aura. And it literally came to me right before this live. I was like, it's not a course or a program. It's not at all. It's a membership that's affordable for everyone. So it's $19 a month. That's it. Sandra, human design is awesome. Yes, it is. I am obsessed. I love it, love it, love it. So it's all the things, ladies. It is all the things, and it's $19 a month. So if you want to join today, before midnight, whatever time zone you're in, just send me a DM or comment below, and I'll send you the link. God, my nose has not stopped itching today. That's hilarious. It means channeling, right? Sarah says, I'm in, yay! So $19 a month, and away we go. And it's just going to be so amazing. I want to also have collaborations with other members in the group coming in and sharing with us what you're learning and what you're working on. So it's going to be really a collaborative, empowering group to lift one another up, to support each other. And it's going to be a lot of lives within that group, a lot of PDFs coming to you. And Sarah, this is some of what I want to talk to you about today. So I'm so excited that you're here and you're hearing this for the first time. So yes, let me know in the comments, send me a DM if you're in, and I'll be back with you next Wednesday at noon Eastern for the next edition of Rose Alchemy TV. And again, I really want to share my spiritual journey with you guys, because it's quite remarkable and something that you might really learn some information from if you're finding yourself getting started or going deeper into your own journey. So let me know too if that would be something of interest, and I can come do a live about that maybe for Rose Alchemy TV next week. Leslie says I'm in. Yay! Oh my gosh, it's gonna be incredible, ladies. I'm so excited, so excited. So thank you for your time today. I'm gonna jump off because Sarah, we're jumping on our Zoom here in just a minute, if my nose will ever stop itching. And I just wish you all so much joy and peace and love and abundance and light. And thank you so much for being a part of my life and a part of this group. And make sure too that you understand this group, this free group, is all about promotion, self-promotion. So you're welcome to post in here. You're welcome to do a live in here. I want you all connecting and networking with each other so that we can rise together faster. And that's what the Illustrious Femmes group is all about. So take advantage. This is your group as well as mine. Soul sister, love it. All right. Thanks, ladies. Love you lots. Speak soon.